Perspective drawing is often considered one of the most challenging subjects for beginner artists. However, once you break it down into smaller parts, you will realize how easy it will become to follow, especially when you grasp the basic principles of perspective. Hello everyone, I know it has been a while since I last posted a video here, but I was preparing something really special to come back to. And that's why I'm here, to talk about everyone's favorite subject, perspective drawing. Perspective drawing was always an issue for me starting up due to many reasons. One of them was the way art teachers typically explain the subject. They usually start with drawing a box in 1-point perspective, then move on to 2-point perspective, 3-point perspective, and perhaps incorporate a few basic shapes before concluding the whole lesson with drawing more complex shapes based on the initial box, without the middle part in between the initial box drawing and the final detailed object. When I was starting as a beginner artist myself, I remember getting lost at that stage. Many tutorials failed to establish a clear connection between the initial rules and their practical application. That's why I always strive to empathize with my former self as a beginner artist and question whether I could follow my own tutorial to achieve the same end product as I show in my own tutorial. If I find it challenging to follow, then it indicates a failure to explain certain aspects of the process, causing the beginner artist to lose track of the lesson. To address this issue and this subject, I dedicated over a year to design a comprehensive course consisting of 3 chapters. The course began with the introduction to perspective drawing, covering the basics and providing a solid foundation, and then it progressed to intermediate techniques for drawing objects in perspective. Finally, it concludes in advanced examples that demonstrate how to apply everything we learned so far, transforming it into practical methods for creating complex and detailed shapes using the established rule. This approach ensures that you learn perspective drawing with a purpose, rather than pursuing an arbitrary goal for merely acquiring knowledge for its own sake. Now let's delve into the specific topics that I will discuss in this mini-series. In the first book, we will first talk about the importance of perspective, and why it's necessary to master it if you want to draw anything that is real and based on the real world. We will also talk about why is it hard to master, and why perspective can be an elusive subject to study. After that, we will move on to naming the important terms in perspective, types of perspective drawing, tracing photos in perspective, different eye levels, drawing through objects, perspective principles, the placement of form in space, drawing circles and cylinders, drawing basic shapes, compound shapes, and advanced shapes. Then we have advanced object modifications like subdivisions, stacking, boolean, and so on. We then move on to the side, front, top views and turning objects from 2D to 3D and vice versa. We will also cover line quality and line weight. After that, we move on to the object defining, eye-sighting versus technical drawing, and we will cover some painting aspects in perspective like atmospheric perspective and so on. Finally, we will draw stairs in perspective, copy some objects in scenes in 1, 2, and 3 points perspective, and go over the common mistakes beginners have with perspective drawing. We will have a lot of lessons in between these lessons, and hopefully the first part will be a good and easy introduction for what comes in later chapters. For chapter 2 of perspective drawing, coming with the second book, we will talk about the intricate details of perspective drawing. We will go over control lines, cross sections, form lines, and segmentations in perspective. Then we will start copying lines in perspective, repeating, measuring, division, and projection in 1, 2, 3-point perspective. We will also go over the basic scenes like basic shapes and turn them into complex objects like vehicles, props, architecture, and interior scenes. We will also cover arches, bridges, symmetrical objects, non-symmetrical objects, organic and non-organic objects like animals, insects, tools, and so on. We will also build up on the concept of moving, rotating, and scaling objects in perspective, because that will help a lot in what's coming in the third part of the series. In the second part, we will also take a quick look on how to turn boxes into simple objects like wooden boxes, houses, chess pieces, and props, and so on. We will also draw figures in perspective, interior shots, architecture buildings, and many other examples. We will hint a little on the industrial drawing and creating ideas in perspective from simple shapes. We will go over some landscape drawing and mix it with architecture in 1, 2, and 3-point perspective. Then we will build some buildings from simple top side planes. And finally, we will go from drawing a prop to building a lot of them to an interior scene, and then adding that interior scene as a cutaway in an architecture building. so creating a prop and taking it all the way to a full building. As always, the second part will be the hardest and the most dense in information from all three parts. But once you know all the little details, we can finally move on to the last part and the most fun part of them all, application. In the third part, we will start applying all what we learned so far to creating new concept ideas out of the basic shape. We will do more interior cutaways, we will create imaginative props in different styles like sci-fi or medieval props. We will trace some reference and then change the reference into special designs and perspective by moving, rotating, scaling different elements of that existing design to make it our own. We will create imaginative design in 1, 2, 3 point perspective in different subjects like architecture, buildings, interior scenes, props, and cutaways. We will also do some product design, vehicles, animals, insects, and so on. Finally, as a bonus, we will cover some extra software that might help us with perspective drawing like SketchUp or Dot Studio. Now this is a lot to cover, as you can see, so this might take a while to follow. But once you see the end goal, hopefully it will make following the first mundane steps more interesting, especially in the first book, and especially that you know where it will lead you to. So I'm hoping to cover as much as possible before I start uploading videos, because I don't want to take forever before you get to the next part, like I did before. So to make sure that won't happen again, I already finished the first chapter of this series drawing-wise before I even uploaded this video that you are watching right now. This way I will only have to edit the videos between 1 week or another without having to draw anything in between for the first chapter at least. And I'm already halfway done drawing-wise for the second chapter of this mini-series as we speak. If you have been following along since lesson 1 in this series, this is where drawing starts to get interesting. We no longer copy images for the sake of copying, but actually building up an understanding of the outer world so we can replicate it correctly and then change it as we see fit and as we imagine, of course. With that said, let's get into the series and start lesson 1 from part 1 of understanding the perspective drawing, where we will talk about the importance of perspective for artists and why is it an essential pillar for realistic drawing. And of course, if you like the lessons, feel free to leave a like. If you have any questions for these lessons, please leave it down in the comment section and I will do my best to answer it as soon as possible. To stay notified for future lessons, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell. Thank you all for watching and I will see you in the next lesson.